This is the island, ARK's best map, and I will have 100 days to defeat the 4 bosses on Alpha. Let's get into this. I woke up on the golden beaches of South Zone 1 and scratched this implant which was embedded into my wrist. Ouch. There was no time to be wasted in these 100 days as I immediately picked up some rocks, punched a tree for some thatch and wood. With the materials collected, I made a pick and started hitting these river rocks for some early game metal and to get myself a hatchet. After that I made myself a couple spears, and the ARK gods must have sensed my improving threat by dispatching a couple dinos to take me down, but they were no match for my survivor and his spears. With the beast slain, I harvested the bodies for some hide and raw meat. My next goal was to set up a temporary base for safety, so I started crafting some foundation. With my amazing base built, I punched my campfire to establish dominance, a feat which other survivors have fallen at before. That amazing clip from Rampy helped soothe the pain that I was certain to face in the next 100 days. Continuing with my journey, I cooked up some meat in the campfire. Whilst it was burning away, I rained terror on some nearby dodos, but the dodo population was in freefall, so I changed my target to this trilobite, which are amazing for crucial early game loot that they give. But the one thing better than a dead trilobite was a level 145 parasaur right next to it. Sadly, I didn't quite have the equipment to tame it right now, so I was forced to leave it alone. Instead, I returned back to terrorising the local trilobite population. At base, I used my genius to muster up a plan to trap the parasaur and knock it out using some old-fashioned methods. Now that I was face to face with the beast, I began to club it.
2,000 years later. 1 eternity later.
Oh, it's down. That took so long. As the parasaur lay unconscious and starving, I went to harvest some food to tame it. And before it woke, I made a saddle. As the night descended upon us, my parasaur tamed up, ready to help me on my 100-day journey. I moved into day 2 with my first dino tamed, where I upgraded to a bow, which was some unfortunate timing for this nearby dodo. Soon later, I unlocked the raft, which would be huge as they give a lot of levels when crafted. Once it was placed, I began to move my things on board, including my parasaur, before I set out to sail the seas. I made a quick stop to kill this trilobite.
Bruh, look at this dude. Look at the top of his head.
Which was looking more like a porcupine now with all the arrows that I'd shot at it. I had now reached level 20 and unlocked the smithy, so I crafted one and used it to make myself a metal pick. With my new metal tools and parasaur, I paraded my way up to the nearby mountain. Whilst listening to Dr. Rockwell's latest audiobook, 10 out of 10 would recommend by the way, I harvested some crystal and metal. Back at the boat, I placed my newly gotten metal into the forge before I was ambushed by a Sarko, who was sadly no match for my parry the parasaur. I'd got distracted whilst on the look for a PT, which almost cost me. I hate these guys. My little journey had led me to the lava cave. Now, obviously I'm in no place to do cave right now, but I'm there for something instead, the crystal. Past this, I kept going north, where I spotted this level 110 PT, which was too good to pass up. I knocked it out with a couple tranks and killed this Sarko to get some prime meat for it. Past the PT, I didn't have much further to go on my journey, so I anchored up on this beach and headed inland. Inland, my parasaur had to fend off raptors and carnos before crossing this rather dodgy looking river, but we eventually made it to this lovely piece of flat land which I would call home. Once there, I harvested some stone and then began building and placing the foundations to my new base. With some basic storage set up, I set off back to my raft to collect the rest of my things. I then again set off from my raft with everything collected back to my new base, but on the way back, I hit the jackpot. Ooh, that's a level 130 fairy. Oh, I like that. Ignoring that amazing find, I made it to my base with the rest of my things. The rest of the day was then spent doing some base work, where I placed some things and crafted some things. And by the next morning, I had a decent little base going, which was then interrupted by this raging Rex, who was no match for my parasaur parry once again. With the Rex dealt with, I harvested some stone, as once you get a PT, there is only one dino to tame next, an Archie. And you need some stone gates to tame them easily. So the gates were built and I set off to the local mountain in search to find me some Archies. I scoured every mountain till I finally found a level 130 in the following morning. Quickly, I placed up the trap and lured the chosen one in. But as all things go, another raptor popped up nearby. With me unwilling to lose my tame, I had to take care of this alpha raptor. Tragically for this raptor, I found this spot on a rock where I could hit it without it hitting me, making for the easiest of kills. Once that little fight was done, my RG was tamed, so we headed back home. That evening, I set out on my RG to get some levels by hitting up some explorer notes as well as collecting some metal, taking advantage of the RG's weight reduction. Back at base, I made this 4x4 and then got some wood to finish the build. I then placed some stone doorways and made myself a trap which would be at my base forever. With the trap built, I now wanted to go tame a beaver, but first stop up was at this beaver dam to collect some cementing paste before I snatched the beaver up, checked the level and brought it back to base to go into the trap. Sadly though, it seemed I kept hitting the beaver once it was down, so I let it wake up before knocking it out again. It then finished taming and I immediately took it out for a spin to get some much needed wood. My next target was to get either an Anki or a Dodig, but I was struggling to find a good level of either. Instead, I found something even better, something that tops all other tames, a Carcharodontosaurus, and to make things even better, there was a level 10 Giga just on the other side of the mountain. After, I found a Dodig which I scooped up and dropped in my trap, which I subsequently knocked out. Whilst it was taming, I picked up this level 130 Anki who I tried to tame at my base as the trap was occupied. This didn't go well as it knocked me off the ledge and into the water, and after a quick search, I couldn't find it. But then my Dodig finished up taming, and then I found the Anki, so I dropped it into the trap and took out these Brontos who had done some damage to the base and then began to knock out the Anki. Whilst it ate, I began assembling my next build, but to continue I needed some more crystal from the nearby mountain which I used to make greenhouse walls. Once they were placed, I built some crop plots which I also placed down. Whilst crafting the irrigation system, my Anki finished taming, and after placing a few more things, the water was set up. Next, I went up to the mountain to get some metal and came back with a hefty amount. Whilst it was smelting, I made some spark powder to make a fabricator and then an electrical generator. Then I returned back to the mountain to get some more obsidian, which was then needed to make polymer, which I'm going to need a lot of, and some more metal. Near my base was this level 145 Phiomia. It was just chilling, so I picked it up and then knocked it out. Whilst it was busy sleeping and eating, I made some air cons and a refrigerator. After my Phiomia finished taming, and I named it Fatty. Ironically, I then had to force feed Fatty some stinberries so I can get an explosion of feces for fertiliser. The following morning I set off towards the swamp to find a nice high level Beelzebufo, but I could only find trash low levels, till I found a level 115 which isn't the best but it's more than good enough for me. I dropped it off at base and I began shooting tranks at it, knocking it out and taming it. Then I don't really know what I did, but I lay at base just chilling for a while whilst the rain fell. Once I was done with that, I crafted some scuba gear before getting some chitin from a scorpion to finish the set. Then I took my frog over to the swamp cave as it was time to get the artifact. I'm only joking. I was there to get some cementing paste, but the bugs did a load of damage, so I had to heal up before going back in for a second try. I killed all the bugs, but I heard some spiders and noped my way out of there. Next I hit some rocks of flint with my Anki to make some more spark powder. Then I took the materials over to the obelisk to make some cryopods before I came back to a surprise at my base.
What is that? Why is there an Alpha Rex just next to my base? Oh, it's level 90 as well. Why is it here?
With that Alpha T-Rex far too close for comfort, I went out to get some stone. I could make behemoth gates and block off that side of my base. The next morning I was in the redwoods killing some low level filers to only find some more low level ones. After a day of searching I left empty handed, but I did find an Alpha Raptor which I killed, and then another one which I obliterated with a shotgun. Next I found and knocked out this level 145 Sabertooth, who then tamed. At base I made a couple bear traps and metal billboards, as these can be used as the perfect dino trap for almost all creatures. So I placed down the bear traps and a couple billboards and then lured a high level ferry I'd seen all those many days ago into it. I surrounded the ferry with the remaining billboards and then began to knock it out. Whilst it was down, I went and looted this red drop, which was totally worth it. Then I went and harvested some metal with my Anki. By the following evening, my ferry had finally finished taming, and then took my saber-tooth out to get some levels and kill these chalicos, before I bit off something larger than I could chew. Oh, I've got no stab, no please, oh, I'm gonna die, I'm so dead. Come on, please die, please. It's killed my saber-tooth, Take that, you filthy creature, don't kill my saber-tooth. A disastrous end to my saber-tooth's life, which made me run all the way back to base as well. At base I made some more spark powder and then shotgun ammo, before I went out to search the Carcher from earlier, which is no longer there. So I went and checked for the Giga that should be nearby, but that had disappeared too. What on earth had killed both of ARK's largest carnivores? In the snow I was fear-roared by a Yuti with my stamina dangerously low, but I made it out and to my base where I crafted some fur armour to survive the cold nights. With my new fur armour I headed out to the snowy mountains to search for a Carcher, but I came back empty-handed. On my way back I spotted this Alpha Rex which had made its way into the valley, so I wanted to kill it. I got on this ledge and began to pepper it with my shotgun. Midway through I got this explorer note on my RG to get all the levels once I had killed the Rex, but the Rex was quite strong so I had to heal up. But by midnight the beast was slain and I'd got an extra 3 levels on my character to take me past level 100 and my RG got a whopping 20 levels. My next goal was to work out what I needed for an industrial forge. I needed a lot. So I immediately got to work and took my frog to the swamp cave, went inside and began destroying the flies. But things went a bit south when an Arthro aggroed on me. With my scuba gone but cementing paste secured, I went back to base. The rest of day 20 was then spent doing some parkour whilst things smelted and were crafting. I was out and about when I spotted this high level baryonyx, so I shot it, lured it into the trap that I'd made on the riverbank, and then secured it off and began to knock it out. I then realised I needed some prime fish meat, so I went back to base to get a sickle so I could farm some more prime meat from these saber-tooth salmon, and before you knew it my Barry was tamed. I took Barry out to get some levels and even killed this Alpha Raptor. Next I took him into the lower south cave as I just happened to be in the area. I killed some scorpions and stuff and then looted the artifact of the hunter, then killed a few more things and left. On my way to base I had an unfriendly encounter with a fellow baryonyx, before I then arrived at my base. At base I made an industrial grill before going out to the mountain to get some more metal, where I instead found a rather pleasant surprise. So instead I went to a different mountain so I could leave that fella alone.
Oh, hello there!
I returned to the Carcher and offered it this RG I just killed, but it seemed the Carcher was having some technical difficulties as it walked right off the mountaintop. I even tried attacking it to get its aggro, but nothing seemed to be working, and this went on for a while. Please eat, please.
Oh yes, it's sniffing. Let's go. Oh yes. What? Why is it gone for me? What?
I assumed this would have fixed the Carcher, but now it just wanted to run in the complete opposite direction.
That's it, I'm out of here.
By the evening I finally got it to eat, so I then killed an RG to feed it again. I then fed it a normal stego, followed by a tech stego, and by the next morning it ate one last meal and was ready to be ridden. So I hopped on and soon later it was tamed. Once tamed I took it out and accidentally walked into an Alpha Rex. And this didn't go well, as I was forced to cry on my Carcher to save it and then died to the Alpha Rex myself. On my way back to base I got mauled to death by an Alpha Raptor. Then a normal raptor. Then an Alpha Raptor. Then a normal raptor again. And then a scorpion. And then back to raptors. By nightfall I eventually made it back to base. Back on my Carcher I was out healing it by killing some creatures, and once I was frenzy level 100 I took on the Alpha Rex again and killed it just as it fell into my base. Unfortunately days 26 to 29 aren't available. I've got no clue what happened to the file, but as you can see it's corrupt. So to start day 30, I made myself some cementing paste and refilled my refining forges with wood, but they wouldn't have much more use as I made an indie forge and replaced it with the older ones. I filled it back up with the metal that I previously was smelting. I then saw I had a Beelzebufo saddle and a Megotherium in my base, and then realised what had happened in those missing days. I'd gone to the swamp with my frog, died, and then tamed a Megotherium and then collected the artefact. Next, I stole some cementing paste from these beaver dams and then saw a godly duo of an Alpha Carno and Alpha Rex. At base, I made a chemistry bench and a bunch of Trancaris before heading out to search for a good Rex. The first one I found was a level 15, so I killed it. Then a level 50, so I killed it. You can tell where this is going as I found rubbish level after rubbish level. And just as I was about to give up, I found a massive level 145, so I placed the trap, lured the big boy in and trapped him up. Later that day I shot one last Trancaro and he was knocked out. Whilst he was taming, I found another jackpot, a level 145 fairy in the redwoods, so I trapped it up as well and knocked it out. I then went back to my Rex who had finished taming and had a massive 460% melee damage, which I felt was quite high. Whilst my fairy was still taming, I went on the search to find a mate for my Rex, but I only found low level rubbish ones before heading back to my ferry who had finished taming. At base I began breeding my ferries, hatching the first egg who was no good, so I killed it. I then travelled to the obelisk to make myself a cryo fridge and returned to do some more breeding. I got triplets before I killed them with my Karcher. I finally got a good theory with good stats and named it Good Female. A good name, I know. I soon later got another good female, and then another. Whilst they were growing up, I went on a killing spree at Carno Island to free up some spawns to try and get a good Rex. But none were spawning, so I packed up and left. Back at base I finally hatched a good male, so once it was done raising, I began breeding it with my good females. Then I continued to hatch some more fairies, and kill some more fairies. I also found this decent yellow drop, and then went back to some more baby killing. I finally got some 0-0 females, which are females who have exactly the same stats and would make getting mutations easier to spot. Whilst they were raising, I went out to get a Bronto. I found this level 130 and began to knock it out. It began to torpor run, so I collected some berries and watched it knock out. I put the berries in its inventory and then left it alone for a few days as I forgot about it. At base I continued with some more baby killing before I upgraded to some Rex killing to try and find a high level mate. I found a level 55 and decided to settle for it, and just used the stats of the other, better Rex. So I trapped it up, but it got out. It then willingly walked back into the trap, a sign that it wanted to be tamed. So I secured the trap and then knocked it out. It tamed and immediately got into battle with another Rex. Once I brought it back to base, I began breeding it with my other Rex, and I also hatched some more fairy eggs. I then remembered the forgotten Bronto, so I went and collected it. The next day I was killing some more fairies and then hatched what I thought was a good Rex, but it wasn't, so I killed it. But I then did hatch a mutated triplet who had a cool green body mutation, and then I killed some more fairies, and then some more Rexes, and then some more Rexes. I finally hatched a Rex with perfect stats, so I kept it but killed the others. I then hatched another perfect Rex who was a female, so I now had a breeding pair. That evening, once they were fully raised, I began breeding the two. Whilst I did that, I killed some more fairies. I got bored of killing so many baby fairies, so I left, and soon found a level 140 Yuty which I wanted to tame.
Oh, this isn't good. Oh, this isn't good. Can I trap you in, please? Please? Oh, I'm being battered here. Please? It's out. It's out the trap. It's out the trap. Oh, I'm dead. I'm so dead. I am so dead. Ow! Oh, that's hurt. That hurts. That was bad. Oh, this is not good.
Once I calmed down, I got back on my RG and went for attempt 2. This time I locked the Yuty in easily and then knocked it out. Whilst it was taming, I went back to base to hatch up some more Rexes, with me even getting my first mutation into melee. The next morning I did some base organisation and killed the unneeded Rexes. After I collected my Yuty who had finished taming, I had also hatched this purple fairy who was now fully raised. By night I'd gotten a further 2 mutations into the melee stat and finally got my first fairy mutation into the health stat. Whilst they were growing up, I spotted this level 95 Carchar who looked absolutely stunning. So I threw out a baby Rex that I had on me and killed it and dragged it over.
Please take the Rex, please.
Excuse me, what the actual fuck are you doing in my house?
Oh, there we go. Go on. It's all yours, my guy. It should tame first time, I think. Will it? Oh, it's tamed. Let's go.
After a short killing spree, it was properly tamed. On my way back to base, I found this yellow ring drop, and the loot wasn't too bad. At base, I killed some baby fairies and Rexes with my Carchar to get it some levels, and I got 30 levels from it, which wasn't too bad. I hatched some more Rexes, did some more killing, and finally hatched a fairy which combined all the colour mutations I'd got on before. After a few more batches of Rexes, I eventually got another mutation, one into health, but it was on a female. Whilst it was growing up, I made some scuba and went out to look for a dolphin. I fed this one prime meat and it was tamed, and I took it out to search for a Moser. Instead, I stumbled across a deep sea loot crate, but the loot wasn't anything special. But I did have to try out the night vision goggles. I spent some more time looking for either a high level dolphin or a Moser, but was having no luck with either. But I did find an Alpha Tuso, so I turned the other way and swam for my life. I finally found my first Moser, but it was level 5. I then found another, but it was an Alpha. I then finally found a decent one, which was level 105, and I was happy to tame it. So I started shooting train carriers at it, and this went on for quite a while. At one point it swam away with me not being able to follow it. Once I hopped on my dolphin, I set after to locate it. And it's only now in editing that I've realised one of two things. Mosers have either very good camouflage or I am blind, and I'm leaning towards the second one.
It was right here, right next to me, the whole time.
After pointlessly searching in the wrong area, I found it, but it looked like it was knocked out. But it wasn't. I was able to trap it and got a lot of shots away, until it swam away and I got chased by some eels, and this proved to be quite problematic as I returned to where the Moser was and should have been, but it was no longer there. And this time it's not me being blind, it was simply not there. Even after checking the tame tracker, I could not find it. So by nightfall I gave up and headed back to shore. A day wasted. On my way back to base I found this neat yellow drop, and my colourful fairy had finished growing up. I then hatched a bunch more Rexes and began keeping and naming the good ones as I was starting to build my boss Rex army. Whilst I was doing that, I spotted some floating numbers in the lake, and then witnessed the poor death of my dolphin who was murdered by piranhas. My Rexes were still growing up and needed some imprinting, before I found this lucky guy who hatched and had the correct colour arrangement. I continued hatching up some more boss Rexes and killing the rubbish babies with my other fully grown Rexes to get some levels. I also went out and tamed a Lystray for the XP bonus, and then did some more imprinting on the Rexes. Next I made a tree platform and sap collectors to get some sap. I also had a little dance off with this fairy. Before I killed a bunch more baby Rexes, imprinted some more and then made myself some scuba gear. Tamed myself another dolphin before going out to search for a Moser. I seem to have turned into this high level corner as I checked these high level plesios, but right next to them was the jackpot, a level 145 Moser. So I then began the long treacherous job of knocking it out and trying not to lose it as well this time. At one point I was escorted away by plesios and megalodons, but whilst I was escaping the Moser's torpor continued to rise and it knocked out. With the Moser down, I went to land and killed a Sarco to get some prime meat. I returned quickly, placed the food in its inventory, fed it narcotics and left as I was being chased by a group of megalodons. Eventually the Moser was tamed and came out at level 217. I brought it back to home and placed it in the lake by my base. I made it a saddle and got back to some more Rex egg hatching, which led to more Rex baby killing and getting many levels. But I then realised I had an imposter. This Rex was missing its imprinting lessons and was no good to me, so I named him Fake, which is what he was. I did some more levelling before I went out to the ocean on my new Moser and into a cave. The cave was the West Water one, which is the easier of the two. In the cave I stumbled across a red drop, but the loot wasn't anything impressive. Further in the cave I collected the artifact of the Brute, I then cried my Moser and left. I made my way to the snow, scooped up a Daedon which would help heal the Rexes, so I dropped it in my trap and knocked it out. Whilst it was taming, I headed out to do a bit of tribute hunting, getting sauropod vertebrae and Yuty lungs. Next, I made my way to the northwest snow cave with just a shotgun.
Oh, this is a bit chilly. Right, there's some bats. I'm going to try to get their aggro and take them out one by one, I hope. Although this one's absolutely battering me. That's one down. Why can I hear? Wait, what? Why are they in the ceiling? Does that mean there's none left? Oh no, there's one. There's a spider. But that spider was mate boosted, but there's no other spider. Oh, I'm so weak. I need to get out. I'm so weak. That bat has destroyed me. Okay, I guess I'll just take the artifact then.
On my way back to base, I killed some penguins for polymer. At base, I deposited my artifact before cryoing my baryonyx and entering the next cave. This cave was the Carno Island cave, and it was full of creatures. And things were going well until I got mega rabies. Once I recovered, I found this blue drop, which didn't have anything good. I then got mega rabies again, and this seemed to have affected my brain as I jumped across the middle of the cave, and then jumped off my dino, got spiderwebbed, fell a bit, almost died, and then died. And this death turned out to be quite problematic, as you will find out in a minute. Once I returned to the cave, some Carnos were waiting for me, but I was able to evade them and enter. Once in the cave, I spotted something. Well, in fact, I didn't spot anything, which was the issue, as my baryonyx disappeared. I even checked the tribe logs, and it hadn't died, so I was quite perplexed as to what happened to him. I tried to investigate further and see where it was, but I died. At base, I cried my Rex and took it to the cave to clear everything out, and it did exactly that. I then retrieved my items, collected the artifact and left without my missing Barry. The next day I harvested some stone and then oil and made an industrial cooker, which I placed at the side of my base. Next I made some grappling hooks and cried my megatherium, and then entered the central cave and began slaying the creatures inside. Once it was all cleared, I collected the artifact of the clever. With that cave done, I attempted the next one, the upper south cave. Once again I cleared out the creatures inside and then grappled over the water to collect the artifact of the pack. Then I left and made a pit stop in the swamp on my way home to kill some leeches to get leech blood, which I then tried to turn into antidote in the cooking pot, forgetting it had to be done in the chemistry bench. With the antidote made, I went over to the lava cave. Whilst listening to Helena's audiobook, I killed some bats and then collected this yellow drop, which had nothing good for me. Then I took the artifact of the hunter and left. Later I was farming some metal on my Yankee and then deposited it all into my Indie Forge. Next I began making some med brews, as it was likely I would need them in the dreaded snow cave. And that's exactly where I would need them, as I hopped on my Rex in the cave. Bringing the Rex seemed to be a good idea, as it was killing all the polar bears quite easily. I even found this yellow drop, but it had nothing good. Next I threw up my Yuty as I was entering the section where there were Palovias, and I could fear roll them out of their burrows. I then had to clear some crystal and then fight a lot of polar bears and Bigfoots, and then some more. After I found a red drop, but it didn't have either a good fairy saddle, Rex saddle or a shotgun. I killed one final direwolf before this happened.
Oh my god, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky. Oh, if that would have stayed up here, I'd be in big danger.
Then I got the artifact at the strong. On my way out I found a yellow drop, but it was rubbish, and then I left the cave. At base I deposited the artifact before going out to collect sap from my sap collectors, and using the sap to make absorbent substrate, which was used to make a gas mask, which helps you see much better in the water. I took my Moser out to sea and found an Alpha Moser, which I began a fight with. With half my Moser's health loss, we defeated the Alpha. Next I went around killing some Basilos for the blubber. I then found a Tuso, which I killed. Next, I killed some eutropids for black pearls, which I would need later.
Nope. I am not fighting that, nope. Nope.
Next, I killed an alpha megalodon before I found another alpha mosa, and with that, I ended my water search. At base, I harvested 1,000,000 pieces of fibre with my ferry before I took my Carcher out to get hide. With all these materials, I crafted Rex saddles and then took my Rexes to the nearby green obelisk the old-fashioned way.
And here we go. Oh, they're doing a lot of damage already. Oh, we're too good. We are too good.
At base, I proudly placed down the flag before going caving again. I entered the central cave, got the artifact of the clever, then there's lower south cave and collected the artifact of the hunter, then lava cave, which didn't go smoothly, as my megatherium got stuck on this ledge and decided to have a bit of a boogie. Things got even worse when I threw it out of a cryopod with 30 seconds still left on my cryo sickness. I then collected the artifact whilst getting bullied by these two spiders. Thankfully I was able to grapple away though. But the damage had already been done as I passed out further away in the cave. Once I got out, I began killing Titanoboas and Sarcos for the tributes which I would need for the Alpha Broodmother fight. So with everything collected, I summoned in the Alpha Broodmother.
And here we go. Go on, in you go guys, go on. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Oh, what? I've lost a Rex. Huh? I've lost another. Number 8's gone. What? And number 13. And number 3. And why am I losing so many? 16 and 12. Come on, it's almost dead, but... And 5's gone. Oh my god, 4. I've just lost 4. How?
I began my recovery from the fight by farming metal and then hatching some more brand new boss Rexes. Then farmed some more metal and hatched the final few boss Rex babies that I needed. The next few days were then spent raising, levelling and farming some more metal, till I finally had enough stuff to make a tech replicator. I placed it at the back of my base before going out to tame an otter. Then I cried my whole Rex army and threw them all out at the blue obelisk. Before starting the fight, I had to kill some Spinos to get Spinocell tributes and Megalania toxins. I tried to lure this Megalania out of the cave so I could take it home and knock it out to get unlimited toxins, but it got stuck so I was forced to kill it. Next I killed some Pharaohzinos for the claws and then tamed another otter as I seemed to have lost my original one. While sorting my Rexes, I then found my other otter. With everything ready, I summoned the Alpha Monkey.
Come on, you big fat monkey. Oh, a quick one. That's a lot of damage.
Now that's a lot of damage!
And it's done. Too good.
With 2 bosses defeated, I had just 1 left, so I began raising colourful army of Theres to take it on. Whilst they were raising and imprinting, I stole some honey to make vegetable cakes, which would help them heal in the fight. I even hatched these 2 mutated twins, but sadly the mutations wasn't in any good stat. By the end of the day, I hatched my final 2 fairies and the army was built. Now it was time to imprint them all. Once they were grown up, it was time to start levelling them. I was aiming for around 25k health and the rest of points going into melee, but I still had one more important thing to do before the dragon fight. Get the artifact from the hard water cave. But I'm going to show you how to do it with no dinos and turn it into an easy cave. First off, you are going to want to drink a mind wipe and get similar stats to this. After entering the water with scuba gear, you want to enter the cave and draw aggro to as many creatures as possible, but mainly the eels. Then you just want to swim along the path to the very back of the cave, while still keeping the aggro to as many creatures as you can. On the land part, you want to run past all the mobs and along the path which will lead you back into the water. This should clear the main room of the cave before you enter the artifact room. If there are any creatures left, like how I've still got a lot of megalodons left, you can lead them over to one side of the cave, swim behind a pillar and lose them. You can now enter the artifact room, but you want to watch out for eels. If you see any, you want to draw their aggro and lead them out. Unfortunately, I didn't see the two that were in here, so I died. So I popped on another set of scuba and entered the cave again, but this time I swam too close to some eels and died. So I went for try number 3. This time I swam well above all the creatures that had just killed me, before I then lured the eels which had killed me on my first attempt out of the artifact room. They were still too close for my liking, so I lured them over to the other side of the cave. Then I entered the hole where the eels were no longer there and collected the artifact of the cunning without any creature needed. Thankfully, getting out the cave is much easier once you have the artifact, as every creature is out in the open and you can easily swim past them. Once I got back to base, I drank another mind wipe so I could get my original stats back. Then I made a tech rifle, before I made a massive mistake. I was leaving my base and accidentally whistled follow all, and as you can see it made a massive mess. So I then had to lead them all along the river and back into my base as one messy group. I then went over to the mountain where I spotted a Karcher, so I killed a baby Rex I had on me and dragged it to the big carnivore.
Come on. Oh yes, you want this. Keep sniffing. Oh, he wants it. Is it tames? Oh, it is. It's too easy.
I killed one final parasaur and it was tamed. It came out at level 29, so I brought it back to base and began breeding it my better female. I collected the egg and began to incubate it, but it was going to take 33 minutes to hatch. With luck on my side, the first one to hatch had the better stats in the important stats and the awesome colours, and all I had to do now was imprint it. Once it was grown, I killed the other baby Karchers, which gave it 51 levels already, which all went into melee as that's the only useful stat to level up. With it all levelled, I took it out to kill this Giga, and I was doing a whopping 2.7k damage, which was no match for this weak, pathetic Giga. And importantly, I was able to get the heart tribute. The next morning, I began the long journey of crowing all my fairies and throwing them out at the red obelisk. But I still needed one more Giga heart, so I went on the search to find one. And it was only until that evening, after checking all the mountains, I finally found one, and I killed it, getting the all-important heart. With everything ready, I summoned the Alpha Dragon.
Oh, I am so not looking forward to this fight. I hate the dragon. I just hate it. Come on, out the way, guys. And it's still hit them. Wait, what? I can't. I built it. I made that gun for nothing. I can't even use it. Ow, ow, go for the fairies, not me. Ah, here we go. Oh, that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Chill. Chill out. What was that? About 7? 8? Oh, I've lost so many. Oh, that was so not good. Wait, but some of these are still so healthy. How does that make any sense? And I've lost another to a dimorphodon. Come on, man. Go on, guys, in. No, not me. Oh, that's not good. Oh, I'm so weak. I've lost another. I can't believe this. I've lost another. And, how many am I losing? Am I even going to do this? Let's go. Let's go. Oh, that was way too close. But how do some of these still have so much health? This one doesn't, he's got no health.
The dragon was defeated, but at a huge cost, as I lost a lot of my Ferrozino army. So I cried all the ferries who still had a fair amount of health left and headed back to base. I made another gas mask and went into the ocean with my Moser in the search for loot. I did come across a red drop, but sadly it didn't have either a Rex or ferry saddle or a shotgun. I killed an Alpha Megalodon and then a Tuso before I entered the Westwater cave in the search for loot. I found a yellow drop, but it had nothing I wanted, so I left. I then killed another Tuso before fighting a whole army of sea creatures. And finally I found the thing I'd been looking for, an Alpha Tuso, so I engaged in the fight and went to war. Things were going well until it grabbed me, placed me behind the mesh of a rock.
Yo, where am I?
Thankfully I was able to kill it, but I didn't get the tribute. It was only after searching the area for a small loot bag that I found it and took it. I was feeling brave after that Alpha Tuso kill, so I entered the hard water cave. When I say I was feeling brave, I meant stupid, as there appeared to be far too much from Moser to handle as I was thrown off and killed. I returned to witness the massacre where I was helpless, as I couldn't get my Moser away, and after a few seconds it was killed. I attempted to lead the creatures away and collect my things, but this failed horrendously, so resulting in another death. This time I decided to bring an Aqua Rex, and he actually did quite well as he cleared all the sharks out. Then I was free to collect my things. Weirdly, I spotted some floating damage numbers behind the ceiling of the cave, only to realise that was my otter fighting for its life, as it must have somehow meshed through the wall when I died. With me unable to help, I was forced to leave. With the days ticking away, I began the final push towards the Overseer fight by farming some more metal and obsidian to turn it to polymer, as well as crafting more med brews. I now had enough metal to make myself a full set of tech armour, and then I coloured it to make myself look right. Next I made a Tech Rex saddle, because I've never really used them before, so I took my Rex out to test it out. With preparations going well, I made myself a lot of ammo for various guns, before I went caving for loot, and on the second drop I finally got a good pump shotgun. To craft it I made some cementing paste and then went over to the snow to get organic polymer from the penguins. With it all harvested I was able to craft the shotgun BP. But I was still missing one thing, a good saddle for either a Rex or a ferry. So, as you can see in a montage of all the drops I've collected in the last 15 or so days, just to show you how awful my luck was, I was searching drop after drop after drop after drop and getting rubbish each time. And it was only on day 97 I finally found something.
Oh, there's a drop. I see that, I see the red. Go on, give us something good. Oh, we've done it. Let's go. Finally. That took so long.
I immediately saw that I needed a lot of hide, so I took my ferry out to get as much as possible, as time was no longer on my side. At the end of the day, I was able to craft my first batch of saddles, so whilst more metal was smelting, I began to throw my creatures out at the tech cave entrance, in preparation for the fight on day 100.
Oh no. I can't, why is it not cryoing? Can I not cryo it? Oh wow, I'm so stupid. Oh, I'm genuinely stupid.
At least I now needed one less saddle, as I finished up making as many of the good saddles as possible. With all my Rexes lined up, it was time to take on the tech cave. First off, I brought in my Karcher, which if you didn't know, actually fits through the gate, followed by my army of Theres. With 40 seconds left, I brought in the rest of my Rex army. And immediately I got to work with my Karcher, taking out the super high level dinos in the cave. And the more kills I was getting, the easier it was getting due to the Karcher's amazing frenzy feature. Then it was time to face the first Giga, which I took down easily. Another cool feature of the Carchar is its knockback attack, so when I didn't feel like killing a creature, I could just throw them into the lava. Not long after, it was time to face the second Giga, but this wouldn't go as smoothly, as it killed my Yuty. But we moved on, until I saw a level 620 Carchar blocking the end, so instead of fighting a battle I would surely lose, I shot it, which made it fall into the lava. So with the cave cleared out, I went back to bring all the Rexes and Ferries down, but that would have its own problems.
What? Oh my god, what is happening? Leave me alone, please. Why are these stuck? Whoa, whoa, whoa! Oh, you're gonna throw me into the lava. Let's do this little shortcut. Ow, lost a bit of health there. Come on, oh my... Please stop, this is so annoying. What is happening? No, no. Well, even at the end, they're still doing it. Why? Ooh, have I made it? Yep, I've made it. Not sure that's worth it for just one at a time. That was much smoother with the ferries. Come on, guys, down you. Oh, no, I've lost. That's gone in the lava. Oh, I've lost one. But why did I do that? It's got a good saddle as well. Please, I hate this. Don't you? I thought you went in there. I've lost another one. It's another good saddle. I don't believe it. What? Don't, no. Oh, that was way too close. Well, I guess this is it, Carcharodontosaurus. Goodbye. You've done well. Oh, look, that looks painful. And we are here.
After that very painful experience, I had all the creatures at the bottom and ready to ascend to the Overseer boss arena.
Oh, and they're stuck. Of course they are. Of course they're stuck.
While Sir Edmund Rockwell's autobiography played, I entered the final boss room.
Oh, and they're spawning in. Oh, they're getting shredded. Oh, what is it? Oh, it's Megopithecus. Go on. Oh, we're too easy. We're too good. Oh, oh, it's the dragon. Oh, no. Oh, this isn't good. Hey? Oh, it's only going for me. What? Oh, and it's now gone to our X's. Please don't die. Oh my god, we actually did it. We didn't lose a single Rex. Ooh, yeah, that's not got a lot of health left. Oh, and it's the broodmother. Guys behind you. What? Why? Come on now. And it's dead. Got one more. I just hope it's not a dragon. Where is it? What is it? It's a monkey. Oh, let's go. Go on. Oh, we've done it. Oh, we're so close. I'm still yet to lose a Rex. Ah, there we go. I spoke too soon. Oh, the Overseer is so weak. Come on. Let's go. Oh, I'm too good.
Some of these Rexes are almost dead. 2k health. But some of them have got loads of health left. Alright, let's get my Rex in and we'll ascend together. Cue the cinematics in 3, 2, 1. And we are done. 100 days completed. Surprisingly, that's my first time ever defeating the island on alpha with vanilla settings and no mods, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you did too, please hit the like button and subscribe, as you will not want to miss my next video. It's going to be a good one. I'll see you then.